Morning, Carrie. Morning, Weather Geek. Hello, Dale. Morning, Steve. All right, 2 minutes till the top of the hour. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Already halfway through the week. Moving right along, right? Hope you guys are doing well, you goodies out there. I'm with meteorologist Brian Good with Storm Talk today, as we are on this 8th day of July. And several things, again, to talk about. A lot of it's all really in the short term. There's not a lot of long-term discussion I'm going to cover today. If you missed yesterday's blog, that was one to tune into, because yesterday's blog went into much more of the outlook. I actually went all the way to winter yesterday's blog. So I'll be back to that game plan too once the weather calms down. But for right now, we got a lot to cover just in the next 5 days or so alone as well. All right. So how you guys doing? Type in chats. You can on YouTube, X, Twitch, and on Facebook. Facebook and Twitch and YouTube, probably the top three I see on here overall. And we'd love to see more Twitch viewers, because the Twitch interface is actually, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're probably not a gamer. But it's not just gaming on Twitch. A lot of it is IRL streams. Pretty interesting stuff on there, especially I watch a lot of live camera feeds of animals that are wandering through the woods and eating feed, or parrots, or even kittens that are in a room playing around. I don't know. I watch random stuff on there. It's just like YouTube, really, but it's live streaming on Twitch. But anyway, the interface is really nice on it. So if you're able to watch there too, sometimes it can be, you can see all the comments too, like you would on everywhere else. We got a Twitch person on. So which name? Doko? Doko's like, join me. Please join me. Yes. And then you'll be drawn into the whole world of Jinxie and Kaisenat and everybody else that's on that's on the Twitch world. That's a whole other rabbit hole you get into. All right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. As always, I want to do just a small recap of what we went through yesterday, because it's important to know this is a very similar storyline today's weather does to the past 2 days. Rinse and repeat. Today will be a very similar idea. Tomorrow is our day of transition to get into the mess for the end of the week. And with that transition, I think tomorrow may end up, especially the daytime period, being fairly quiet. So if there are things you've been trying to take care of, these downpours that keep popping up at 2 or 3 in the afternoon or ruining your plans, you may be able to squeeze in the better day of the week will be tomorrow on covering the lowest rain chance. So there you go. That's the way it's looking right now. I'll walk you through that in just a second. First off, let's take you, take a gander outside, shall we? This is going to be a live look from the top of the Waterfront Plaza in downtown Louisville. Some of the tops of the clouds and some downpours being found back to the west and southwest of Louisville. There's a reason for that. We do have some thunderstorms. Dew points, well, this hasn't changed a lot. At times, you may drop these values down briefly to below 70, but in general, it's the same air mass that arrived here a week ago, really, with the heat wave, and it hasn't changed. There's no cold front that has moved in to clear the air out. All you're experiencing every day are thunderstorms that are trying to exhaust the amount of moisture we have in the air, at least down to a lower level, to calm the atmosphere down, let it go to sleep at night, take a nap. But even during the overnight, I don't sleep very well. So I'm always staring at the radar. I know I have a problem. I stared at the radar all night, and I was looking at several different boundaries that just kept firing up, even during the overnight. So get dry air to move in, there's a chance for a storm to develop at random times, mainly downpours. I say storms, but most of them are just heavy downpours, not much in the way of lightning. But obviously, we still have the same amount of moisture at play today. So, what is the game plan on radar here? First off, the rain yesterday. This was a Kentucky show. That's the way it looked to be. Yesterday, I think we drew it as generally this area would be the focal point for the storms, and fell basically in that spot. Only problems ran into on the southern side of Lexington, Greensburg, ran into at least some flooding issues. I didn't see a lot of major concern, even though they had their higher rain totals there. Several issues back in West Kentucky. But in general, in Louisville, we had several flood advisories, but no flash flood warnings other than Greene County that were issued. The concern is that one of these boundaries may try to drift back into Louisville. So we did issue a short-term alert day, not only to cover you guys in our other larger communities in E-Town and Bardstown, just in case, because we watch everybody, all right? It's not just about Louisville. But we were concerned there could be some development in Louisville, but we got lucky that the boundaries never were able to make it this far north. Will we get lucky again today? Well, I can tell you about looking at the satellite. This is looking at satellite and the radar combination. Right now, this is live. Your moisture pool right now, the highest amount that is kind of just sticking together in a big conglomerate, if you will, is focused between Louisville and Evansville. This is the area, and the thunderstorms are reacting to that. So it's pretty easy to pick out. Where the rain is, that's kind of where the moisture has been pooling. But we do have some sun in Louisville. We did have a little patchy fog around. I do think Louisville is, again, in fair game here to see a down burst or a thunderstorm that can develop, with the capable of being one that can produce a downburst over the city. So I think Louisville's in that zone again. Now, we haven't issued a short-term alert day for this afternoon, and we're not until we get confidence enough that we are going to get flash flood warnings in certain areas. And if that confidence goes up, we will let you know. I'll hope the alerts, and let me know if you're in chat. Are you getting these alerts that we're sending out to your apps that are specifically for your neighborhoods? Because we typed those up. I sent out 3 or 4 yesterday alone, but we type them out and send them out to just the areas that we're most concerned about, so that we don't have to trigger everyone's app that are in calmer areas, so you can enjoy your day. So if those help, let us know. If they're annoying, you can turn them off in your notifications. But we're trying to, especially in these situations, alert folks that are in immediate concern of heavy rain, strong winds, that kind of a scenario. And so if you like getting those and they are helpful, then that's how we'll handle most of this. If we see it become a little more organized, and that's when we upgrade to an alert day to notify everyone of what's going on. But today, I would say West Kentucky, near Cordon, I would throw Louisville in that zone, and then down to Columbia and west. This seems to be the target zone today for your clustering of showers and thunderstorms. Again, you can track that by looking at the moisture values. And when you look at where it is pooled, now it is a little stretched out at times here in Eastern Kentucky, yes, but these values, the scale doesn't really show it very well. The values are closer to, it's like the Big Dipper. Anyway, the values are closer to 2.5 inches per hour around West Kentucky, Bowling Green, Evansville, around Davis County area, heading toward, again, Louisville's in the northeast area, the quadrant, if you will, where we could see some of that pop this afternoon. It's going to take a few more hours. Past few days, it's been roughly in that 2 to 4 p.m. window that we've seen action that has blossomed on the radar. So again, we'll watch it. If it stays mainly West Kentucky, you won't hear much from us on it. But if they drift into our counties, we're going to send out individual alerts. And if it looks like it's going to be a bigger issue for several of you for more than just an hour or two, then we'll go with a short-term alert day. Fair enough? That's kind of how our way of thinking will be today. And we'll take it hour by hour. Good old nowcasting type of setup. Okay, so let's see. What was I going to zoom in on here? Oh, yeah, the closer-up view of the radar. You can see some of the showers just west of Louisville, around Leavenworth, in Crawford County, but not much in Louisville. I just wanted to show you Louisville is quiet. So let's scoot to the west. There we go. Some showers in Breckenridge County back into Hancock County, Kentucky. Nothing too impressive here. They're just kind of drifting around. I mean, they are so lazy. And it's not their fault. There's just no tailpipe. So they're just kind of like, yeah, let's go over here for a little while. Oh, no, let's go over here. And it's like, oh, I'm out of gas. I'm sorry. So come pick me up later. So they just cannot survive very long until they eat away all the fuel. And then they have to wait until another boundary comes along to help them out, or until they fade out completely. The sun hits the ground again and heats it up, and then a new one can develop. So when you loop these in animation, it is pretty fascinating to watch how bonkers it is. It's like watching gnats in the evening when you walk outside in your backyard and you see the little cluster of gnats flying around. That's kind of how these storms are. It's kind of just all over the place. So it makes it hard to forecast. It really does. It makes a big difference on getting, 3-4 inches of rain and getting nothing. Well, I mean, that's huge, right? So all we can do is tell you the potential these can do, and make sure you're ready. And that's about all we can do on our end, and keep you notified, of course. Wider view. This is about it. I mean, the moisture is pulling in a very classic area of the Ohio River Valley. Some of this is probably some of the corn sweat back in Illinois is probably feeding some of the downpours in that area. But yes, Chris, I saw your comment. It is outflow city, and outflows are basically little mini cold fronts, and they go to sleep at night. They fall into a certain spot in the evening. They run out of fuel because it's so late at night, and they become dormant. But all they need is about 3-4 hours of sun to hit them, and then they just pick back up where they left off. And there's no doubt there will be several spots in central Kentucky, back to Evansville and Louisville. That quadrant seems to be where most of the boundary went to sleep last night, so that should be where most of the action is today. Your severe weather potential is low end, but again, you can get a pulse severe just because of the downburst. Those are very short-lived, a matter of minutes. Most of this is all about rain and flash flooding. Okay, so as we head to the north, this is a bit of a different ball game. This is a more organized front that is sliding in from Canada, that is shifting to the south and east. Now, this does have a tailpipe with it, and it'll come in phases. There's going to be a lead wave that'll move into the Ohio Valley with a front attached to it. The front attached to it is going to be the key player, because I've drawn these low pressures many times. You guys know the shape, your typical comma shape, right, that you have on the keyboard. That's like a 9. Anyway, I've been out of drawing class for a while. But this particular low, as it moves on by, it will have that comma shape to it, just like this. And it will have a ball of rain, some showers and storms. Your severe wind will be on the leading edge of this. Damaging wind, likely get in a watch box of some sort tomorrow as it moves across the Midwest, moving into Illinois. But once it passes by, depending on how strong it is, if these things are very, very strong, they develop a tail to them that'll curl back up. If they're very, very strong, they can actually push that tail very far to the south, because that is where your heavy rain, your flash flooding zone will start to establish, at least for another 6-7 hours after this passes by. If this is, angled as it is, then we will hopefully get the tail. In other words, a ball of thunderstorms will move in, the MCS, and then the tail will be draped and pushed down into Missouri and Tennessee, and they will be the focal point of heavy rain. And I'm talking about Thursday night into early Friday. That would be a fairly likely scenario. However, if this tail on this MCS is got a very sharp angle to it, in other words, it's much more like this, then when the ball of rain and wind hits here, well, the tail hasn't dropped far to the south at all. So we get the entire thing that will then roll right in behind it over the same area. Well, then we've got a flash flooding problem, because there's not just one of these, there are 2. The second one arrives on Saturday, and it'll be in a very similar spot. If we get both, then we've got a big problem. And I'm talking about significant flooding potential. But the data is not all there yet on, are we going to get both? Especially for the first one here. They're a little wishy-washy. The first one affects us at some point. We're thinking right now it'll affect us more on the thunderstorm side of the comma shape as it moves in, which would include some straight line wind potential. We're not sold on the flash flooding on the southern part just yet, being all the way in our area. It may get pushed to the south. And then when the second wave that will arrive on Saturday will fall on its tracks, that will induce another round of heavy rain. But I'm telling you, if we get both, then we've got a big problem. And I'm talking about more than a half a foot of rain is going to be coming into play here. So how these two interact with each other, and it never goes exactly the way the models show, because there are so many minor issues at play in the summertime, especially with these weak wind fields, that it's a catalyst issue. If one's stronger, if this wave here tomorrow night into Friday morning is stronger than expected, that absolutely is going to affect anything after it, and vice versa. If it's weaker than expected, then that could power up the one on Saturday more than expected. So a lot of questions, and I don't want to get too in the weeds more than I already sound like I am right now talking to you, because I'm already feeling overwhelmed with it. What I want to make sure you guys understand is that's just going to be a very active period for us, that we got to be on our toes. Starting Thursday night, Friday during the day, multiple times during the day, and likely into Saturday. And yes, there is a chance as early as today, we may have alert days out for a part of this. I'm thinking right now we may alert the first wave Thursday night into Friday, and we'll wait and decide if we need another alert day for the second piece, which will be Saturday and Saturday night. That may be the best way to handle this. But we'll discuss that and see how we'll approach it later today. But I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed with 4 days of alert days, because it's not one big setup. There are multiple issues here at play, and I'm trying to find a way, how can we differentiate the two without confusing you too much? And you have a lot of plans outside. We have ISCO Championship. Everyone's trying to do some camping. I get it. So and timing, you want to know timing. You want to know about my area. Is this going to be flooding? Will this be tornadoes? I hear all the questions. And so what I'm going to do, first, let me get to the severe risk, and then we're going to walk down the hour by hour as it stands now. I just want you to be understanding that this is as of today, Wednesday. Tomorrow, when I talk to you guys, we'll have brand new data, a lot of high-res data, and we'll have a lot more specifics. So bear with me. If I'm not answering your question on specifics today, I will have a better chance to do it tomorrow if you just hang tight. Fair enough? Thumbs up if you're all right. Everyone's got the thumbs up emoji, right? If you don't have thumbs up emoji and you're watching on streaming, just do it at home. I'll see you. All right. Hello, Amanda. You're planning on throwing a pork butt on ribs in the smoker on Saturday. Okay. Well, I mean, you can still do that, right? Just may not be pleasant if you get heavy rain. All right. Here's your severe risk for the first wave that will be ejected out of the Rockies along the boundary. Got the enhanced risk there into eastern areas of the Front Range. All right, then we get into tomorrow, and this is where we get into the first wave that will have the potential MCS feature that is going to dive south and east. Now, the one model I'm going to show you, our in-house model, gets it here before sunset. Several others do not get it here until like 2 a.m. tomorrow night. So a big difference there. That's a good 6-hour window of a gap, and we're 24 hours away, basically. So that's not assuring, but they all have this feature. So confidence is high that we're going to get a feature that's going to roll in. Confidence is low on how intense it will be, the exact track, and what impacts will it indeed have on wave country. So that's fair, and this at this stage anyway. But they did draw the slight risk all the way up to I-65, up to Louisville here to account for it. Having enough fuel and momentum, because they'll be moving fast. I mean, we've been dealing with these slow moving downpours and storms that are just crawling. And you can run faster. You can get on your kid's tricycle and get there faster out of your neighborhood and beat some of these downpours we've had as of late. These will be moving at about 60 miles per hour as they move in tomorrow night. So again, they got a tailpipe. So they'll be racy. Now, the reason why it cuts off in Louisville, well, it's all because of timing. By the time they get to I-65, we're going to be likely after sunset, and the darkness of night will be at play, and they'll be weakening. But they account for still some gusty winds by extending the marginal even further east in case they don't power down as fast. That gives SPC a little bit of wiggle room to extend the slight a little more if they need to. So that's how the methodology is on how these maps are looking. But in general, St. Louis to Louisville is the zone to watch for tomorrow night. Okay, pay attention to the clock at the top left and where you're at on the map. Here's Louisville right in smack dab in the middle. All the red you see there is fuel. Red is low end fuel. Gold is high end fuel. We typically get that anyway when you get into the summer months. So let's advance it. Here's today's pop-ups. Well, that looks fun. This is around 6 o'clock today. Yeah, just pick one. One over here, one over here, one over here, one over here, over here, over here, over here, this way, this way. I mean, it's a mess. That's why you got to nowcast it. It's just nearly, yeah, you know the drill. You've been paying attention the past few days. They rain themselves out. But if you hear lightning and thunder and it's heavy rain in your neighborhood, it's likely going to stay like that for a while, a good 45 minutes. And your neighbor down one neighborhood over may not get a single drop. They may hear the thunder, but they might not get the rain. So anyway, we'll be in the same boat on that today. We'll monitor it. These will relax. Now, notice as we get into your Thursday, not as much action. It tries to push us into the 90s. That may be a little overzealous, but still, there's not as much at play here because what has been feeding the downpours lately, while it hasn't been a front, it hasn't been a very weak low pressure. It's been spinning slowly through the Ohio River Valley. It's been helping to lift the air to allow for these storms to form. Well, now it's going to be spinning into West Virginia by tomorrow. So we lose our lift. So there's not much of a trigger. So that's why the radar is like, okay, I don't see a repeat tomorrow of what we've had so far this week. But then we got to get ready for whatever this is about to be into Missouri. So as we get into the afternoon, here comes the complex. Now, this is pretty fast. It's got its 9:30. Again, this is our in-house model. Some are a lot slower than others on this moving in. The low-level jet here into Thursday night really ramps up, and it's going to be ramping up roughly between I-70 and I-64. So this definitely has a tailpipe to travel on. Damage winds, tornado threat. It's low end. But with high dew points like this, I always say you got to account for it with any kind of collision of boundaries with low-hanging clouds. Just be mindful with such high dew points and you get back into thunderstorm mode again, you're going to get a lot of odd-looking clouds that hover close to the tree line and they look like tornadoes. Some even have like a triangle shape to it, but it's an illusion. The key thing, and I don't want you guys to be storm chasers, but for the storm chasers that are out there, they know to look for scud clouds because the difference between a scud cloud and a funnel cloud it's very simple. It rotates. And if it's not rotating out of a lowering base, then it's just a scud cloud. What I mean by that is this the cloud that is humidity is so high, it has formed just above the tree line. So it can look ominous, especially when you take a picture of it far away near where there is a tree line, it can look a little eerie. And even if it's behind it. So be careful with the photos, but in general, we'll be monitoring that. That is not the highest concern for sure with this. Damaging straight line winds and flash flooding will be the flash flooding risk initially will be limited because we mentioned how fast they're moving instead of being like bumper cars and just moving around like the speed of my tortoise. They're going to be moving faster tomorrow. So yes, very heavy rain, but not stuck over somebody's neighborhood for a long duration. At least initially, this first wave won't be doing that. So it doesn't look like a comma, but that's basically what it would be. As MCS, if I had to draw, it'd be like that. And here's the tail like this. All right, fair enough. You may not have even seen that. Okay, it moves on by. As it does so, you see, let me back that up. You see then how it pushes the southern part down into southern Kentucky. I mean, look at that heavy, very heavy rain during the overnight. But it pushes it down into Tennessee. But we're not done. In this scenario, if this model is right, for Louisville especially, and several of you watching Kentucky, we would only have to deal with a damaging wind threat late evening Thursday night, some heavy rainfall, and some flash flooding in southern Kentucky, because there is a bit of a training there. And then we shut things down for a bit into early Friday. So there is a clear separation between the next one that will begin to show up. That one, here it is, rolling in Friday evening. Similar setup, MCS, very heavy rainfall, and this is where the model stops. There will be another one that will show up Saturday afternoon that will be very similar as well. So it's going to be just repeated rounds of rain, of showers and storms, tracking very much east-west along I-64. It'll take until Sunday morning to finally get something to move in to push this to the south. Until then, we're going to be dealing with round after round after round after round of rainfall. And the totals are going to add up, and that's what's going to lead to the flooding risk for the Ohio and Tennessee River valleys. Will both be in the same game here. It just depends on how they all overlap, but we're the zone to watch. I did run. Let's see, where was it at? Let me put this here. This is just a snapshot just from the GFS. And again, it's just one model's idea, but this is where it's spitting out rainfall into Sunday. And you can see that it's showing, 4 to 6 inches of rain may fall, some of this thunderstorm induced, but you can see just about everybody has a chance at a 2 to 4 to 3 to 6 inch rain in wave country. And if you've had already, some of you in Louisville have already had 4 inches this week alone. This is not what you want to see. And this is where we're talking that there could be significant impacts on flooding, are those of you that have had a lot of rain lately. If you've been missed a lot, this doesn't seem as alarming probably to you. But if you've been hit a lot almost every day with heavy rain, this is going to be a problem. This is one of those setups that's going to cause roads to go underwater. The rivers will be out of their banks. It's going to be disruptive on travel. So make sure that if you have any issue right now with that you've had this week with leaky basements or a leaky roof, you have some time today if you can dodge the storms, and sometime tomorrow if you're able to squeeze in an appointment. Otherwise, once you get into this weekend, just put the tarp up and hang on because this rain's going to be very, very heavy. I'm not thrilled about it. I have very poor drainage for my yard, and I'm like, oh no, I don't need this. So this is the Euro, by the way, showing a similar setup of the rounds. Here's Louisville, by the way, right here. Whoops, sorry about that. Louisville right here, and you can see it's just the repeated rounds that flow in the same spots here, right along the Ohio River and Tennessee Valley. It's just a classic flash flooding event scenario, and we've had this happen several times this season. The weather likes to continue to rhyme, and it's doing that. Once it passes by, just a glimmer of hope at the end here. We do calm down later on Sunday. Most of the rain actually will be out here on Sunday. Now, we are going to heat up next week, but I don't think we're looking at mid-90s, because this is going to be quite the heat dome in the plains. I mean, triple digits easily for the plains, maybe the upper Midwest. We'll be on the eastern side. I think we'll get into the lower 90s, but the heat index may actually be lower than the actual temperature because the air is going to be drier next week. But here's the really good news, I'll say for the very end, and this model doesn't show it because it's too far out of range. But at the very end of the 10-day, this is where we are expecting a nice push of a northeast flow to allow for us to take the temperatures down even more. It may take until the 20th to the 22nd of July, somewhere on there. But if that holds and that does push down, we may score some low to mid 80s for highs with low humidity to close out July, while the central plains in Canada bake. So there could be a nice little bonus at the end of the month of better weather. Something to look forward to until we get past this mess. All right, let me get to some of your questions real quick because I rambled way longer than I thought I would, but always do that. Let's see. Hey, Carrie. You said the tail may be further south. What happens when the rain totals won't be as high as that graphic? When you think you know more? Well, if I think we're going to get high rain totals, it's just whether or not do we get the max potential or the low end scale. There's going to be a low end scale of maybe 1 to 3, I think is likely for just about everyone watching. The high end scale is going to be roughly 5 to 7. Maybe a touch higher, but 5 to 7 on the high end, 1 to 3 is the low end of the scale. And how they overlap and how the repeated rounds pass over the same locations, that's going to be key on where you fit in that range. I don't have that answer yet. Tomorrow, we have a lot of short range data that comes in. I'm hoping that will clear the picture a bit more to where maybe we can start dividing up the viewing area in sections and letting you know who is more at risk for those totals. But at the moment, we're not able to do that. So I'm being very generic, but at the same time, I feel like you guys need a heads up. You need a heads up on planning, especially if you've had problems as of late, because these little daily flash flooding events have been keeping us so busy. We haven't had a lot of time, even on our TV weathercast, to get into this event. I feel like we brush by it because we've got so much going on currently. when we're on TV. So the blogs are important here because this is our time to not only talk about that, but make sure that you understand what is next. And one way we'll do that is probably be going with the alert days, just to make sure attention is drawn to that time period. And let's hope that we get the lower end of the scale. That would be nice. But even 1 to 3 is not anything to sneeze at. That's still going to cause some problems here. But obviously, there's a big difference in that and half a foot by all accounts. Big difference, right? You guys are like, I'm over. This is nuts. Yeah, this is this is classic El Nino type of summer weather. Based on the analogs that I pulled when we did the summer outlook, it had a lot of high precipitation events in June and July, especially, that showed up. Some top 10 events actually kept showing up. So it was interesting to see that so far it's trying to match that pattern. Then to give meteorologists more time on TV. Careful what you wish for. I'm sure at some point that's all will be on TV. Will be the Weather Channel before long. Hey, Olivia. Harvest Showcase on the 25th. It was so hot last year. So yeah, let's hope we are in that dip by the 25th. It's still showing up. I just don't know how fast it will get here, but it's generally going to be beyond the 10 days. So don't panic if you don't see it on the 10 day yet. But I do see it showing up on the data after the 10 days. So, and it showed up starting in May for mid to late July, that early. So there's some hope. Hey, Martin, I think the Bats game, too early to know that, Martin. It all depends on the timing of the wave. So I don't know yet. Good question. You're not going to be the only one asking that. But that's like step 3 in this phase coming. So we got to get past step 1 first before we can answer that. Because again, everything has a cause and effect of everything after it. I'm just giving you the very Cliff's Notes general idea of what the pattern is looking like and its potential. And that's the best I can do for right now. Once we get a little closer, we'll get you more timing frames, amounts, specifics, locations, and numbers. We'll dive into that. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for now. I got to run and get ready for midday. But again, we're going to go over the midday data. And if we feel confident enough that we're ready to go ahead and flag Thursday night and Friday for phase 1 of the setup for the weekend, we may do that. So don't be surprised. If we do not feel confident on the data coming in, we're going to wait probably another day. But either way, you know that it's coming and what to look out for. And we'll be here again tomorrow, and we'll go through it again together, and we'll see how it all looks. Fair enough? Easy peasy, right? I like it when it goes easy. All right, everyone, take care. I will see you guys come up the flip side at what time? Oh, yeah, 30 minutes. Oh, I got to hurry.